Hello, I'm Bill LeMay, and thank you for watching Community Matters on MyRDC. We hope you'll continue to watch as we discuss issues facing our community and provide you with the resources and information needed to find solutions. Today we're talking about your health and happiness during the winter months. Joining me now is Dr. Nicole Swiner with Durham Family Medicine. Doctor, welcome to the show. And let's start with flu season. I hate the flu season. Although sometimes I say, sometimes I'd rather have the flu than a cold, but I don't really mean it.
No, you don't.
So it's here, isn't it?
It's here. It's here. And hopefully we're prepared.
Well, let's talk about what we need to do to prepare for it. I know everybody talks a great deal about getting the flu shot. Every year's different, isn't it?
Correct.
I mean, so what worked maybe at the beginning of this year isn't going to work this year?
Correct. And so hopefully we're staying on top of the numbers and how many people got sick the previous year, what type of flu they were infected with, so that we can improve the flu shots for the upcoming season.
Is it kind of a guess, or I mean, how effective are the flu shots, I guess?
Yeah, it changes with every year. You know, there are different types, different strains of flu. I don't know if you remember years back we were talking about H1N1, there's H2N2, you know, they're all different types, type 1, type A, type B. So the medical field and the pharmaceutical field tries to predict based on the previous year's numbers what's to come for the next year. And they try to match up the strains well with the vaccine so that we're as protected as possible. But you're right, sometimes, you know, it's not 100%. We do the best that we can.
Can you get sick from the vaccine?
So that's a good question. That's usually a battle that I have in my office.
Yeah, I bet you do.
Depending on how up for the argument I am. You know, for people that come in and swear that they got the flu shot and immediately got sick, you can't really argue with that. You know, I say, okay, I understand the way that you felt and the symptoms that you had. The truth of the matter is there are potential side effects, and those side effects can mimic those of the flu, those symptoms of the flu. But you know, you have to determine, you know, if you have the side effects from the flu shot, how bad would the actual flu infection, you know, would have been without the shot. It's a toss-up. You have to weigh the pros and cons, weigh the risk and benefits. For those who have actually had the flu, they are usually convinced that they're getting the flu shot. Like, it's worth taking the risk. If you've been down with the flu, you feel like, you know, you've been hit by a train, I mean, literally, it knocks you out for a couple of days. So for those who have actually experienced a true flu infection, are you know, they're up for getting the flu shot the next year. So I do not want to experience that again.
I know that from my colleagues who have gotten it. It's the worst thing you want to get. Yeah. But you know, you talked about being down for a couple of days. It can be very serious, though. People do die from this. They do, especially if you know, you're very, very young or very, very old, or you have a lot of sicknesses that put you at risk for having a lot of complications. So it's a very serious epidemic. The flu shot itself then is primarily just for the flu. I mean, it doesn't help with colds or anything else. No, it doesn't. Still haven't figured out the cold thing.
Yeah, whoever figures that out is going to be a trillionaire. Yeah, yes, but no, there's no cure for the flu yet, or vaccine. Well,
we're just beginning the season, I guess. What is the season for flu here in North Carolina?
Yeah, so usually we start seeing some signs in September, and it can go all the way up to April. So for those, I think we were just mentioning, for those who may have gotten their shots January 2016, you still need to get your shot October, November 2016, because that shot from earlier this year won't cover you for the rest of the season, the new season. So it can last a really long time.
So what are you reading? What's the expectation? As you mentioned, there have been years where it's been kind of scary, just based on the media coverage. I'm not hearing a whole lot about it other than get your flu shot, so that's probably a good thing, right?
That's a good thing. So far, I've heard of a couple of cases, but in my office, you know, for instance, we've been giving the flu shot now, or since, you know, early September, and we've only really had, I don't know if we've had any cases so far, which is good, of actual flu infection. So get the flu shot. It's never too late.
Well, I'm going to get it. I mean, it seems silly not to. For folks who, I mean, can you get the flu once you have the shot?
It's possible.
All right, so let me
get. It's less likely, but there is some possibility.
All right, well, but that's good to know. what do I need to do to make sure that I don't get it? Because I really don't want to get the flu.
I know.
In addition to getting the flu shot, do you have some tips?
Yeah. So not only should you get the flu shot, but your close contacts should get the flu shot. So everyone in your household, if they're healthy enough to get it, they should definitely get it. And practice the same type of practices that you try to do on a regular basis, but probably a little bit more vigorously, making sure you're washing your hands with soap and water. If there's not soap and water around before you eat, sanitize, clean the doorknobs, make sure that if you do identify folks who have been sick, try to stay away stay away from them. If you are, I know a lot of us try to stay on top of our work hours and go to work.
Don't do it, please. Don't come to work.
Do not go to work,
please.
Especially if you have a fever. Don't bring that
yes.
home to work. And daycare. I have kids in daycare and preschool and kindergarten, so it's going to be interesting for us. But as soon as we hit the door, wash hands. Take off clothes, change clothes. Like, we don't want any parts of it. So, within reason, just try to be as clean as you can.
So it's kind of in the same way that you catch a cold. It's airborne.
That's right.
What about folks? Are there some folks who should not get the flu shot? Who are they?
So for folks who have any kind of illness or disease that makes them immunosuppressed, or if they're on chemotherapy, for cancer or different types of disorders, you definitely need to talk to your doctors to see if it's safe for you to get the flu shot and what type of flu shot. Because some are very active, some are inactive as far as the actual virus and the vaccine is concerned. And depending on your immune system, you may not, qualify for certain types. So just talk to your doctor about it.
And what do you hear from your patients? What concerns do they have? Do I get sick? Is that basically the number one?
That's what it is. Or the flu shot is going to give me the flu.
Yeah.
And so we have to really have a conversation about, like I said, weighing the risks versus benefits and explaining that, yes, you could have a mild, increase of your temperature, feeling kind of achy, nasal congestion, and all that. But just imagine what that would be like if you hadn't had the shot. And me, for instance, my family, 0 side effects. Every time we get the flu shot, we're perfectly healthy. It works well. For some people, they can be sensitive to it, but you just have to just be smart about it. Have a conversation about it.
And it's available everywhere. I
Yes.
mean, they almost stop you on the street and said, "Here, I'll give it to you." I mean,
right.
So take advantage of it. Thank you. Now, are you planning on doing a little holiday travel soon? What to look out for when we come back?